Hello everyone, X-Wall Bethelite here. And the source of this information that I'm going to tell you about came from a channel on YouTube called Crime Dynasty. Now, this information pertains to Jehovah's Witnesses because recently we've heard of Jehovah's Witnesses getting the doors blown off the Kingdom Hall. We've heard of Jehovah's Witnesses being shot and killed while going door to door. Recently, I believe that was in Illinois. We've also heard of Jehovah's Witnesses being killed by Brother Blickham in Germany. About 6 of them were shot and killed in Germany. We've been hearing this pattern for a little while now. Well, what I'm going to tell you is that this is not anything new for Jehovah's Witnesses to be out getting murdered and killed and murked and everything else. Jehovah's Witnesses have been getting murdered for a long time. This concept that God is protecting Jehovah's Witnesses in any way, shape, or form is about as false as possible. So, Crime Dynasty takes us back to the 1980s. In the 1980s, in Mexico, it wasn't good to be walking around as an American. As a matter of fact, the drug trade in Mexico was booming. They didn't want to be interfered with by American agents. It didn't matter if it was CIA or special forces or anything, right? If you were an American in Mexico in the 1980s, that wasn't good. You could wind up getting killed. Now, there's one group of people that I've been telling you are the dumbest group of people on the face of the earth. And that's Jehovah's Witnesses. Because not only did you not want to be in Mexico as an American, you don't want to have an American name in Mexico. You might get whacked if they think you might be undercover or might have something going on with helping to uncover their drug trade. Not only did you not want to have an American name, but you didn't want to be anywhere near the actual cartel. Leave it to Jehovah's Witnesses to be dumb enough to not only leave America as a bunch of janitors and window cleaners. When you look at the episode on Crime Dynasty about the Jehovah's Witnesses, the 4 Jehovah's Witnesses murdered, they'll tell you that before coming to Mexico, these people were like janitors or something, not the smartest people in the world, right? Not that there's anything wrong with being a janitor, but when you connect it to a person falling for a cult, it's a janitor that fell for a cult. This is not the smartest person in the world. I've been telling you Jehovah's Witnesses are stupid for years now. And there's nothing but more evidence that this is true. Because a bunch of janitors not only left and went to Mexico. You could have gone anywhere, but they went to Mexico as Americans in the 80s, right when it was hot in Mexico to be, not hot in as far as heat, hot as far as people getting murked, messing around being an American in Mexico. they decide that that's the time they want to go to Mexico. Not only do they go to Mexico, but they go to Mexico and they start going door to door to everybody's house. They don't go to Mexico and lay low. These Jehovah's Witnesses go to Mexico where Americans are getting murdered and start banging on doors with watchtowers. Well, something happened that day in Mexico that has probably never happened in the history of the country. Probably never happened in the history of a cartel. A group of Americans dumb enough to knock on the door of the cartel, to knock on the door of the cartel boss. These 4 American Jehovah Witness idiots went to Mexico and then went to the door of the cartel boss and knocked on it. Let me explain to you. As an American, you could have got killed anywhere messing around in Mexico. But these Americans, there's only one group of Americans dumb enough to go to the house of the cartel boss, and that's Jehovah's Witnesses, went banging on the door of the cartel boss. Let it sink in. Let it sink in. With some magazines talking about wouldn't you like to live in a world where there was no more drugs and no more murder? The cartel boss is like, yeah, no, I would not like to live in a world where there's no drugs. How insulting is that to go to the door talking about a world and a paradise and calling it a paradise where there's no drugs, no cocaine, no marijuana, to the main distributor of cocaine and marijuana? So you knock on the door of the cartel boss as an American. That's not dumb enough. He could have just killed him right then and there. But then you go around with some magazines talking about how it would be a paradise with no more drugs and no more criminals to a crime boss. Your ass is about to get lit up. So these dumbass Jehovah's Witnesses, crime lord snaps his finger, and these dumbass Jehovah's Witnesses get scooped up, kidnapped, put in a vehicle. Now, you guys have, I'm sure, heard stories of people who mess with cartels. It don't end pretty. It does not end well for people that mess with cartels. Okay, so you got a bunch of Jehovah Witnesses and they get snatched up by the cartel because they're banging on the cartel's door, talking about some damn a world with no drugs, and they're like, yeah, that's our main source of income. For all the cartel knew, they were probably agents or something, trying to get some information. So they torture them. And a cartel knows how to torture probably better than anybody else knows how to torture. So they torture the Jehovah's Witnesses. And once they figure out how empty-headed these people are, they realize there is no way in the world that these people are agents. They're not CIA. They're not FBI. They're not special forces, because these people are dumb as all get out. And the only thing they know is passing out Watchtower magazines and scrubbing toilets from when they were a janitor in America. Once they figure out, yeah, these people aren't CIA trying to stop our drug trade, these people are just actual idiots that came and knocked on the door of the cartel. They're just really that dumb. As Americans, they're killing Americans left and right. And then the Americans just come to the door, banging on them, the door with a magazine and briefcases and suits and whatnot. Like looking like a freaking agent. So they get the information out of them. They go back and talk to the boss, the crime boss. And they tell the boss, we don't think these people are important. We don't think they're CIA. We don't think that they're onto our operation. Because we done tortured them and everything, and these people are idiots. They're just legit cult members that came banging on our door. Well, you may have heard of somebody who is somewhat famous, named El Chapo. Well, allegedly, the crime boss tells El Chapo to take care of it after they figure out that these are just a bunch of group of idiots. Well, El Chapo, he takes the Jehovah's Witnesses. There's 4 of them. I'm guessing 2 men and 2 women, husbands and wives. And you think about it, this can't be the first time Jehovah's Witnesses knocked on a door in Mexico, right? They're probably somewhat familiar with Jehovah's Witnesses knocking on the doors. They didn't know that they were dumb enough for Watchtower to send Americans to knock on the cartel's door when they're whacking Americans at the time. But yeah, they've heard of Jehovah's Witnesses. They've seen them before. Now, the question comes to mind, why didn't they just beat the dog shit out of them and then let's let them go? Well, Jehovah's Witnesses have a process that they've instituted called shunning. And that is supposed to be psychological torture that they inflict on people who don't want to be a part of their religion. If you've been unfortunate enough to be born in a family full of people dumb enough to be Jehovah's Witnesses, then most likely you're aware that they use psychological torture on people who decide that they don't want to be a part of the cult. Now, do you think that there's nobody in the cartel that had any relatives that were Jehovah's Witnesses, any run-ins with Jehovah's Witnesses? Most likely not. Most likely somebody there knew about Jehovah's Witnesses. Now, what happens with this knowledge? Did they let them go and say these are good people? No. The boss tells El Chapo, allegedly, take care of it. People probably know Jehovah's Witnesses as a group of people who shun their own family. They turn on their own family. They treat their own family like shit, essentially. And if you got a group of people willing to turn on their own family, and dumb enough to go knock on the door of the cartel as America, they're too stupid to live. They're too stupid to live. So El Chapo takes the Jehovah's Witnesses and puts the men in the room, ties them up, gags them, puts the women in a bedroom, ties them up, gags them, and strips them down naked. Stripping them down naked to help prevent them from trying to escape, right? Unless they're just going to run out stark naked. They strip them naked, they tie them up, and allegedly El Chapo tortures them. Now, this is interesting to me because they were already tortured. That's how they found out that these people are idiots and they really don't know anything and they're not with the CIA or anything. El Chapo, I think, tortured them because he wanted to. It's a possibility maybe one of El Chapo's relatives shunned him and turned their back on him. And he may have known that Watchtower is a cult and Jehovah's Witnesses are a bunch of the dumbest people on the face of the earth to fall for a cult that has falsely predicted the end of the world multiple times. Well, not only have we been hearing about Jehovah's Witnesses getting killed lately, like in Germany, being shot, and I talked about commemorating the shooting of Jehovah's Witnesses with the eating of German chocolate cake, but they also have had a lot of things happen, like the Kingdom Halls have been lit on fire. In everything. Like, not only have we been hearing about these things, but these things have been going on for a long time. And we're going all the way back to the 1980s, where Jehovah's Witnesses are being tortured multiple times. So El Chapo allegedly tortures the Jehovah's Witnesses, has men come and rape the Jehovah's Witness women in front of the husbands. The reason why I'm thinking that this has got something to do with the cult and the shunning and how the cult treats people is El Chapo could have just killed them. He could have just shot them. I mean, could have just taken a machete and chopped their heads off. I mean, you know, without their heads, their IQ would go up. Again, like I've been telling you, these are the dumbest people in the face of. So why go through all that with the torture and things like that? That sounds personal. That sounds personal to me. Like we got a bunch of people, we just take them off in the field, shoot them, and then it's the end of it. No, we're going to have them raped. We're going to have the husbands watch while the men come and have sex with their wives in front of them. And then after they're raped and tortured, they have the Jehovah's Witnesses go to where they've dug graves, line up to where those graves are dug, and they smoked their brisket. All four of them got their brisket smoked. And the reason that they found this out by a confession later on down the line. So the concept in the Bible, there's a concept that you reap what you sow. Or if a blind man follows a blind man, both will fall in the pit. In other words, if you're dumb enough to be a Jehovah's Witness or associated with Jehovah's Witnesses, and shit happens to you, it's your own damn fault to just being that damn stupid. And that's the story of the Jehovah's Witnesses that decided they're going to stop scrubbing toilets and being an American janitor. And they're going to go to Mexico when Americans in Mexico are getting murdered. Go to Mexico when it's dangerous in Mexico. And I'm sure Watchtower, none of their elders, nobody warned them because they're all so stupid. They probably all told them it's a good idea. Yeah. Go right over where the cartel's busy killing everybody from America and perhaps knock on their door. And they did. And they died. All four of them, brisket smoked, still buried somewhere in Mexico. Them Jehovah Witnesses are still to this day buried somewhere off in Mexico with their service bags and watchtowers and everything. Buried in the ground with them. Brisket all smoked. Probably all skeletized and everything right now. There is no... There's nothing more powerful than the power of stupid. Nothing more powerful than the power of stupid. You can't protect people that are going to go to the house of the cartel boss. You can't. If they're that damn stupid, then there's no protecting people like that. That's why, in my opinion, Jehovah's Witnesses, this cult, they're a danger to children, right? They're a danger to children. One of the women in Germany, when Brother Blickham got the letting off in the Kingdom Hall, her unborn child, from my understanding, I don't know for sure, but from my understanding, her unborn child got hit by a bullet. If a person is associated with a group that damn stupid, then shit happens. If you were to take that concept, and eliminate the whole concept of Jehovah's Witnesses, right? Just if you were in a car with a person that is just dumb as horseshit, there is a high likelihood of something happening to you. They're going to wreck the car. They're going to do something stupid. They're going to go someplace that's just idiotic that they shouldn't be. And then something's going to happen. If you are around stupid, if you are near stupid, there's a good chance bad things are going to happen. And that's the case with Jehovah's Witnesses, this cult. There's a bunch of idiots, and they have been getting fucked up since the outset of the cult. All the way back in the 80s, Jehovah's Witnesses allegedly getting murked by El Chapo. Smoking all kind of Jehovah's Witness brisket. All crisp. Smothered in the finest sauces. Smoked their brisket, shot them all in the head, and buried them, and they're still there to this day. It's been going on, and it's probably going to continue. So we try to help people and put information out so that people are aware. This is a cult. It's stupid. They've predicted the end of the world. It's been false. If people join it anyway and they get fucked up, that's on them. That's on them. You can't protect stupid. There's nothing you can do. They're fucking idiots. Getting murked and all kinds of stuff. Cartel probably put some of them in a bucket of acid. Dissolved the heck out of them. And their watchtower and briefcase. Comment down below. Let me know what you think. X Wall Kill Bethelite signing out.